You just need to follow your heart. And I know that when we were undergrads, when people told you, hey, just follow your passion, follow your heart. And sometimes you don't know, okay, where my passion is. You might not know about it yet. But you want to go out and try different things, try new things. And if you don't like this, that's totally fine. Then try another.
Hello, wildcards. Welcome back to the University of Arizona podcast. My name is Rebecca, and I am the host for today's show. And I have my colleague here with me,
Nicole Camacho.
And we are so happy to have Dr. Cheng here with us. She's an assistant professor in the School of Journalism. You're most welcome to the USA podcast. Before we begin, we just want to know how you're doing today and how has your day been for sure.
I'm doing well. So thanks for having me.
That's great. Dr. Cheng, you have done so much research and it explores how people consume and engage with news in the digital age in the current, we're in the 21st century, which is really cool. What first inspired you to study digital journalism and political communication?
Yeah, so right now we're living in a world that is deeply mediated. We use all kinds of media technologies like cell phone, social media, and nowadays it's generative AI.
Yeah.
We use them to get information about the world around us. We use them to connect with others. We use them to engage in civic life. So I start to wonder, okay, we're using these all kind of media every day. What are the effects of using them? So what kind of information are we getting exposed to on this media? And how are we engaging with all kinds of media content? And how are we expressing ourselves on social media? And are we becoming more, mentally well when we're using this social media? So all these questions are coming to my mind, and I decided that maybe I can use research to help me figure out all these questions. And I guess that's why I enjoy doing research on social media, especially how people use them to consume all kinds of news information.
So why do you think it's very important for students to understand how media shapes the way we view the world? I know you had those beautiful questions and then it turned out to be like a very great research, and that's what you're teaching at the moment.
Yeah.
So how do you think students should understand that, and how does this shape the world around us?
So I think it's important for all of us as media consumers to be more mindful about what kinds of content we're seeing every day. So are those high quality information, or are those misinformation, disinformation? And are we seeing a real person posting their comments, or are we just seeing bots or even like generative AI agents posting their comments? I think it's important for us to have this pair of critical eyes of this media content we're seeing every day, and think about, okay, let's say we're seeing this low quality information, misinformation. How would that change our political attitude, political opinion? How might that affect my behavioral intention or my engagement in this political and civic life? So yeah, I guess the key takeaway is we want to be a critical media consumers. And also for journalists, we are media content creators. I think it's more important for us to learn about these effects of media consumption, so that we can create more high-quality information and make our audience more well-informed about our current world or current situation.
With all the research you have done, what's the most mind-blowing thing you have learned?
I think, so lately, for the past couple years, I've been doing quite a lot of TikTok journalism and politics research. So basically, I use a wide range of methodologies such as survey, experiment, computational social media analytics study to try to figure out the so-called political landscape or information environment on TikTok. So one of my recent public publication on computers in human behavior, we found that those political content video on TikTok, those that use negative language, uncivil language, attacking the political out party, those kind of content that get most audience engagement. So they get more likes and comments compared to the contents that didn't use these tactics. So that makes me think about what is the long-term effects of consuming these negative political content on TikTok. Yeah, from the audience engagement perspective, these kind of content, they are attention grabbing, they attracts more engagement, more likes, more comments, they drive traffic. But from a media content creator perspective, or from a journalist perspective, from a researcher perspective, do we really want to live in this kind of information environment? I think ultimately my goal is that, I believe it's also the goal of many journalists, we want to live in a world with a healthier information environment where people can have this constructive, deliberative conversation with each other, and we can listen to each other's perspective. So that is kind of perfect world that we want to live in, and this kind of goal also drive my own research agenda.
So with all the research on TikTok that you have done, would you want to be a TikTok influencer, or would you rather just step back and just do research?
I think that's such a great question. Very interestingly, so last week, our school had a team of journalists around the world come to visit us, and I share my research on TikTok. And one of the journalists, she asked me, she said, "Are you a TikTok influencer? Can I follow you?" And I was like, unfortunately, I'm not. I only do, I do a lot of TikTok research. And I said, okay, you know what? This kind of content, they drive engagement. And I give this kind of suggestions. I said, my research has this kind of practical implications for journalists, for influencers. But no, I'm not an influencer. And yeah, I guess I'm more interested in observing what's going on in this information space. I like collecting data, using social science methods to understand what's going on in this social media space, to observe people's behavior pattern. I think that's where my passion lies in rather than like creating content myself.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So before we started recording, you mentioned that you were doing business. So what kind of drove you to get into communications?
Yeah, so actually, like I said, my undergrad degree is in business school, and I major in human resource management. So actually, I took several internships in companies, and so I screened people's CVs, and then if they had recruitment needs, I will screen for people's CV and then give them a short list of candidates. And sometimes I will interview people. But after doing several internship jobs in the human resource management area, I found that I didn't enjoy that much. I didn't feel my passion when I did this job. And later, I kind of have this pivot point in my career. And I started to take other internship in marketing area, in public relations area. And I got an internship in a small social media marketing company. Yeah. And I participated in several marketing projects. And I found that I fell in love with this process. And that's the point where I think maybe I should get a master's degree in communication, in journalism area, so that I can learn more about this field. And that also helped me have this, kind of springboard to get into this area. So yeah, that's the pivot point in my career.
Yeah, I think people should try new things because you never know what you will like and what you will end up loving and wanting to do for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
like me and Rebecca, we started this podcast and we just fell in love with interviewing, and maybe we can pursue this as a career in the future. So I definitely really hope people get out of their box and try new things.
I agree. And sometimes you just need to follow your heart. And I know that when we were undergrads, when people told you, hey, just follow your passion, follow your heart. And sometimes you don't know, okay, where my passion is. You might not know about it yet. But you want to go out and try different things, try new things. And if you don't like this, that's totally fine. Then try another.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my experience. And I really agree with your point.
So how can young scholars use their academic work to contribute to positive change in their communities? Because like you mentioned earlier, with TikTok, people posting a lot of negative videos and then driving a lot of bad and negative comments. So how can young students engage with that and also contribute to positive change in their community?
I think that's a great question. So lately I got interviewed by a nonprofit organization. It's called News Creator Corp. So it's a US-based organization that help train the content creators on social media to produce high-quality content that can help people get more informed about the current affairs. So I share my research on TikTok with them. They actually made a blog post on that, which I really appreciate. So one research I share with them, it's an interview study with 23 TikTok news users in the US. So I did this study last year, and through the interviews, I found that actually this TikTok news users, they really they value the content that can give you what's going on in the world in an accurate and concise way. And that is not behind a paywall. And one interesting thing is that they actually don't like excessive visual effects, those fancy visual effects on TikTok video. And they also don't like those background music going on in the TikTok news video, especially when it comes to serious news topic. They feel that that can feel childish, unserious when it comes to serious news topic. And I guess my main takeaway from this study is that people want a balance of information utility in the news content, as well as a sense of personal touch on the TikTok news. So one thing they like about the influencer-created news video is that they will tell you, okay, what's going on in this news issue, and what's their take in this issue. And they sometimes will share their personal story, or they will share, the opinions from other side in their news video. And sometimes they might make some humorous jokes on it. So these make the news consumption experience more engaging, more enjoyable, instead of you just watch TV news at anchor sitting behind the desk talking about news. That can feel a little bit boring to the younger age news audience. So yeah, going back to my main point is the current news audience, they want a combination of great information, accurate information. They want high quality news content as well as engaging dosage in this media content.
So then people who are looking into engaging with the media or creating content should always, do more research and find out what the people like the most, because like you said, it's really sad to see that mostly on these platforms, it's only the negative comments or the negative videos about politics, about the environment, about what's happening around us gets more attraction. And at the end of the day, since we have like 8 billion plus human beings on earth, you find that like half of them are consuming negative content, which isn't very helpful.
Yeah, and I think that's where solution journalism kind of stepping in. And nowadays, people are just so fed up with all those negative content, Democrats attacking Republican attacking Democrat. So they're kind of tired of this. They want a constructive conversation around policy issues. tell me what the issue is and how we can do to tackle this issue. How can we move forward instead of just, partisans attacking each other?
So would you say like maybe now this comes back to the people who run these platforms? I'll call it like the higher ups, mostly when it comes to the TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. So I think what I'm trying to think is that like maybe they should also like try to regulate how much content people receive when it comes to negative content, when it comes to these short videos or just long videos. I think sometimes also like they promote that because they can play with the logarithm of the videos. So
absolutely,
sometimes like they should also quite play with that, like to reduce how much bad and negative content people receive on a daily basis.
I think you raise a really, really good point, especially in this kind of social media study, is the algorithm system.
Yeah.
So I guess that is one of the limitation in my own study because I do audience-based research more. So I interview people, I distribute survey among people, I know about their behavior, their thoughts. But one thing I cannot know about is how those tech companies, they design their algorithm. So what's there in those black box, right? I don't know what are the criteria in terms of recommending all these news content in someone's feed. And I think that's a really good point. And unfortunately, this is one of the limitations in my study.
And are you planning on studying other stuff except instead of audience?
So actually, in my another TikTok study, TikTok all day. So I use a social network analysis technique to understand people's information consumption pattern on TikTok. So basically, we use web scraping techniques to scrape people's following accounts. Of course, all those are public data, so we don't do private data.
No.
So basically we use web scraping, and then we try to figure out if people are following the accounts that are aligned with their political belief. So for example, if we classify this user as a more liberal-leaning user, so we try to figure out if they are following accounts that are more likely to align with their political beliefs. And our finding is that, unfortunately, yes, people are kind of living in this individual political echo chambers on TikTok. So people are more likely to follow accounts that are aligned with their beliefs, and they rarely follow accounts that's on the other side. So I think the implication of this finding is that actually it's shown in numerous other social media studies, like on X, Twitter, Facebook, etc. Many researchers already found that there are these political echo chambers on social media. People have this selective exposure pattern. And now I found this on TikTok as well. So the question comes to, as media consumers, if we are aware of this selective exposure pattern, how that might affect our political opinion, our attitudes, how that might affect our interactions with other people, especially those on the other side. And on the larger picture, on the long run, would that deepen our political polarization that's happening already right now? So these are the questions I really would like my audience would start thinking about. When you use social media, you use TikTok, you use Twitter, you use Facebook, you use those content day after day, how that might affect your mindset in the long run.
So most of your research is based on TikTok. Is there a social media platform you would like to expand your research on, like you mentioned, Twitter, Facebook?
So the reason why I started researching TikTok is I remember several years ago, I remember it's 2022, I read a report that's on Pew Research. They found that nowadays more and more people are using TikTok as their news source.
Yeah.
Because previously, we saw people use news on Facebook, on Twitter, on Reddit, but not so much on TikTok. And then ever since the pandemic, people start using TikTok more, and then their news consumption frequency on TikTok just rise a lot during the pandemic since 2020. And that's where many researchers start considering TikTok as another news source platform. And I did my first TikTok study in 2022. Yeah, and that study was cited more than 100 times until now, and we are really proud of that work.
Yes.
And thank you. And then after that, we continue this line of research, and we use other methodologies to understand TikTok as an information space. I feel like I'm not answering your question, right?
No, you're doing great.
Okay. So speaking of other social media platform, I think maybe nowadays people really want to jump on this AI, trend.
Yeah.
And I do have some ideas, maybe researching AI, generative AI, as a fact-checking tool.
Yeah.
Can it be a reliable tool for people to fact-checking news information? Or when people now start talking to AI as their companion, their friends, do they discuss politics with AI? And if they do, would their political opinions get changed when they talk to AI? Or do they just, reinforce their previous opinion?
AI has been taking over recently, not only on social media, but as well as in classes. In one of my courses, my professor's changing the whole midterm because of AI. He is so scared that people are going to cheat. So it's been impacting everyone recently.
I agree. And I actually had has the same problem as well. So for my quiz, I would ask students to come over to my class in person.
Yeah.
And I asked them, you can Google, you can use online sources, you can refer to our class notes, but please don't use AI. Yeah. That's the reason why I need to bring them to the classroom.
Yeah, that's true. So the path to academia is not easy or straight at all. So what challenges did you face during your journey in academia?
Yeah, and if I look back now, there are definitely many challenge points in my research journey. And one thing I can think of is when I decided to apply for a PhD degree, I asked my professor, I told him, I'm an international student, so English is not my first language. And I don't feel like I can write and publish a 25 pages long academic article. I just don't feel like I can do it. And then he said, no, you don't have to worry that too much, because academic writing, in essence, is a scientific writing. It's not creative writing. And especially if I want to do quantitative research articles, they usually will follow a pretty clear structure. You have abstract, you have literature review section, you have method section, results section. So it's a structure, it's almost like a template that you can follow. And he said, with more training and practice, he believes that I can do it. And I think, looks like he is right. And with all these years of training and practices, I'm able to make progress on my scientific writing. And this is one challenge I can think of, especially for me as an international student.
Yeah, I feel like us as individuals, we always put ourselves down and we're like, we can't do it. And then we have our parents and professors as well. Teachers are a huge help into our success and the power we actually have.
I agree. And I would say I was lucky enough to have several great mentors, these professors supporting me along this journey.
Well, I'm glad that you had great professors. Sometimes you can go through college and then you don't even find one of the best professors anyway to assist you or to give you the courage. But I'm glad that you found one of the greatest professors who encourage you to pursue higher education and also become a professor as well, which is great. So currently I'm a senior and I'll be graduating, and so I'm thinking about graduate school. I'm thinking about my master's program. And so what are some steps students can take on if they want to do research or go to graduate schools? What are some practical steps they can do to prepare for their graduate school, for them to be successful?
Yeah, and first, I'm so glad you decided to do graduate program.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the best experience in my life ever. And I would say maybe the first practical step you could take is talk to your professor or talk to your advisor and tell them that you have this interest in pursuing a graduate degree. Do you mean a graduate degree or a PhD degree?
So it's either PhD or my master's.
Or both.
Oh.
Or just for any other students who wants to do PhD program.
Sure.
Yeah.
So for my scenario, I did a graduate degree first, and then I decided to apply for a PhD.
Yeah.
So I guess talk to advisor, professor first, and ask for their advice. I remember when I applied for my PhD degree, actually also grad degree, I made a list of the schools, the programs that I'm interested in, and I remember I talked to at least 3 professors and asked for their advice, because some of the professors, actually many of them, they know which programs are good for you and some might not be so suitable for you. They can give you this advice. And I guess the second step is to try to take more classes as you can. I remember when I was a PhD student in my first year, I took many classes, and I also sat in classes. I audit those courses that I'm interested in. And because through those readings, class discussion, working on those course papers, reflection papers, when you work on these steps, you will start realizing, okay, this is the sub areas that I really want to work on. Because as we know, let's say, for example, in mass communication area, this is such a broad field, right? Mm-hmm. But it has different sub areas like science communication, health communication, political communication, interpersonal communication, lots of sub areas. And in my first year, I took all kinds of communication courses, as well as those method courses, including quantitative data analysis courses and qualitative analysis courses. And I slowly realized, okay, I really love political communication and I love quantitative research method. And then I would reach out to professors and ask them. Oh, this is an interesting story. I remember when I was a grad student, I literally emailed every research professor in my department. I asked them, do you need an RA? So I asked every one of them. And I was lucky enough to get 2 RA-ships at that year. Mm-hmm. And that's where I started to get involved in real research projects and learn directly from those professors to really get a sense of, okay, this is how doing research is like. So I guess, first talk to advisors, talk to professors, and then second, taking more classes, really getting involved in those course materials, take those course papers seriously, try to figure out what your passion is, what your sub area is. And then third is try to get some RA-ship experience, getting a sense of how research is like.
So was there a time when you felt like, I really want to become a professor?
I guess during the second or third year of my PhD, I started seriously thinking about the possibility of becoming a professor. Because I would say my advisor, my PhD advisor, he is a role model for me. Mm-hmm. I learned a lot from him. And sometimes if you can find a good mentor or advisor, you are not just learning how to do research from him or her. You are also learning how to become a better person. For example, one thing I really like about my advisor is his positivity mindset. So we know that in academia, we have all kinds of struggle that can coming up in certain points of your life.
Yeah.
And during those moments, what you want to do is don't get yourself stuck in those problems. Try to think about how we can move forward, how we can solve this problem, and don't think too much about the things that you cannot control. This is one of the quote I like really much from him. Yeah, so don't think about those things you cannot control. Just focus on the present. And I think there are many positive personality traits from him that I learned from. And the way he mentors students, I really like that. He fostered this positive and collaborative supporting atmosphere in the lab group, which I like a lot. And I feel like this is kind of the person, the scholar I want to become. And that inspired me to become a professor.
That's great for sure. It's always good to have people who have positive mindsets around you because they impact you. It's like, it doesn't matter if like they're telling you like great stuff or you're having a great conversation or how they even react to situations when they're sad or how do they react to situations when they're happy.
Exactly.
All those little things impact you. Yeah. And there's a way you also tend to receive the information and use it just like indirectly without knowing. That's what they say, like the people we spend most of our time around always impact how we're going to react to different situations. So how was life like overall for your PhD degree, for your PhD program for that 6 years? Did you enjoy the time?
I think that's a great question. Minor correction, I did it for 5 years.
5 years. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
cool.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And then my graduate degree, I did it in 1.5 years. Yeah, so in total, it is almost 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like a long time, but if you look back, time just flew by very quickly. Especially I spent almost 2 years in my PhD degree during the pandemic. So that was a really harsh time for me because you can just stay at home during the lockdown. I cannot fly back to China to see my family because of the lockdown, and you cannot see your friends in person. So this connection kind of broke down during that time. So I guess resilience is a very important lesson I take from that time. I remember we would hop on Zoom and have those, what they call it? Cocktail, what's that, cocktail hours? What they call it? Like happy hours. Online happy hour. And then people raise glass and then we talk about our lives on Zoom. It was interesting. And we could not see each other in person, but we kind of supporting each other virtually. And going back to your question, I feel that the first 3 years, I would say 2.5 years or 3 years, I took a lot of classes. And during that time, I didn't worry about publications too much. I know that in academic, they always talk about publish or perish. I sometimes think this is a bit toxic and it creates a lot of pressure on young scholars, especially PhD students. I really don't think it is right to stop worrying about publication when you first got into your PhD degree, at least in your first 2 years. I think in your first 2 years, you should focus on taking classes, learn about theories, learn about methodology, so that you have a solid understanding about this field and finding out what you truly like, right? And I think this is those like foundation work that's really important. And I guess starting from 3rd and 4th year, I became an independent instructor because I need to have my TA-ship going on, and then I need to teach classes. And also I stopped publishing paper with my advisor in his lab group. And that's a totally different experience from the first 2 years, because you kind of become like a project manager of your own research. You want to start establishing your own research agenda. You want to start leading some research project, research paper, learning how to collaborate with your other colleagues, how to form this healthy working relationship with other collaborators. And of course, also learning how to teach a class independently. So there were lots of learning moments during that 4 years. And then the last year, I solely focused on my dissertation. And I worked on another research assistantship in the university library that year, so I didn't teach at my last year. So that helps a bit. I have more time, free time to work on my dissertation. And then it was my last year that I went on job market and applied for academic jobs. And I was lucky enough to get a job over here and become a professor at U of A.
Well, we're coming to the end to our podcast episode. Thank you so much for coming on and speaking and inspiring students here at the U of A. So for our last question for you is, what experience has shaped your approach to teaching and mentoring?
I think for me, as a new mentor, I don't see my role as training my mentee or my students to become another me. That is not my goal. So I think my goal, my mission is to support my students, to learn about their career goals, their research interests, their personality, their working styles, and then see what I can offer them, how I can support them along the way. And most importantly, I really want them to enjoy doing research. If they want to do academic or want to do research career, I want to help them find this passion, this interest in doing research. And I want to teach them this is a marathon. You don't need to burn yourself out in the first 2 or 3 years. You try to push those paper out. You don't need to do that, because it's a marathon. There's a long journey. You want to live a sustainable research career. So that would be my advice for my advisee, and it is also my mentor philosophy.
Overall, I would say we are so proud with the work that you're doing, and
thank you.
There are things like you only did your PhD program for 5 years. That's really cool and excellent. That means you're a faster learner. And given that you've come from a different country here at the US, by the way, how has your experience been so far? As an international student and also as a professor who comes from a different country here at the University of Arizona?
I would say, as an international student and now as an international scholar, lately it has been like a roller coaster experience because of the policy changes. But like I said, I try to focus on the things that I can do, I can control. I don't think too much of the things I cannot control. And then looking back as an international student, I guess I was really lucky to meet so many friends here, great collaborator, researchers, and all those great faculty, professors, mentors, help me shape my research career, help support me along my research journey. And coming to UA here, I'm also grateful that the department has been really supportive, especially coming to my visa issues. And I really like the students here. And this semester, I'm teaching Digging with Data course. It's like a data journalism course. I teach students how to use software tools like Excel and R to do some data analysis, teach them how to access data online. I know that this class hasn't been open for 3 years, so I'm really excited to taking on this course and bringing my expertise to the students here. I guess as an international scholar, my goal is to maybe bring a more diverse perspective to this group of to this community, and also try to foster this supportive and this ever growing community. I don't know how to put it, but a community that people can learn from each other, support each other, and try to learn new stuff day by day. Yeah, that's how I would end this.
So do you have any tips for international students who wants to come and study here in the US, but they're quite, I know it always feels like scary because you come from a whole new environment, you have a different experience, and then you come to the US where it's like also very different, everything is always different as an international student. So do you have any tips or advice for students who wants to come and study here in the US?
Sure. I think one important tips, and I found it super helpful, is to find your community. So find your interests. For example, I like playing badminton, so I joined a badminton group when I was a Ph.D. student, and I myself established a hiking group when I was at Penn State. So that group is pretty large. It has 200 international students and scholars in it. So every week or so, I will organize this hiking activity. We will have this little getaway during the weekends, get away from the stress, from the job, from the academic duties. So I think this kind of activity will help you clear your mind a bit and also make new friends, make connections with the local community, and just admire the natural beauty around us. I think that's a healing experience, and it can help you make friends. Make friends, have a community around you. And that's an important support network. And that can help you succeed in your professional life as well.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Finding a community is always a very important part of, someone's life or where you live. Like how the two of us that started this podcast, it was like we kind of wanted to find a community. So you want to be around people, you want to talk to people, and you always have that sense of people around you. It's always a very good thing to have. And I'm glad that you started a group of over 200 international students. That's really cool. When you're talking to each other, you find out, oh, I'm liking this, I'm liking the other thing, and you help out each other because you have that time of conversation. And also, like you said, when you're part of others, you remove stress from work, from your classes, from your research. It's a lot of work to do, but I'm glad you were able to establish something like that. Thank you so much for coming to our podcast. Yeah, we are glad that you're able to come, and we are also excited for the work that you're doing of your research work on helping people to know how they consume information online, mostly when it comes to news. And in this digital age that we are in at the moment, this is really cool. Thank you for coming down here.
Thank you so much.